We're going to officially get started here. We got a pretty good amount of folks who registered in here, which is great. I'll start out with some introductions. We'll kind of go over the agenda, and then we'll kind of get going with the presentation so we don't take up too much of everyone's time, but also give you some useful information in the time we have. So my name is Jim Riherd. I'm the VP of Operations at MeasureSquare. I run a lot of the day-to-day items in the office, work with our development teams, work with a lot of different of our departments. So I'll be doing part of the presentation today. I also have here Kevin. He is our senior support team lead. I'm sure plenty of you who are existing folks know him. He's been with us about 6 years. I've been here about 7 years. And Kevin is an expert in getting people deployed and started on MeasureSquare. So thank you for joining. This meeting is being recorded. If anyone has to step out, a fire needs to be put out work-wise, this will be shared with you guys after. It'll be live on our YouTube channel. So don't feel like you're missing out. We'll definitely share it with you after the meeting, likely by tomorrow as well. So I'm going to jump onto the next slide here. So just as a kind of a quick agenda, so obviously we just did our introductions, overview of the event. So it's basically going to be split up in 2 parts, about 50 minutes each, give or take, depending how long it takes to go through. Kevin here is going to be concentrating on essentially getting started with MeasureSquare 8. If you're about to subscribe or just subscribed, or you're an existing customer, it'll be hopefully useful to you. Basically, from Kevin's experience of training hundreds of customers, if not thousands, essentially, what are some of the best ways to get started? What are some of the things to concentrate on in the software that really will give you a lot of ROI and value when you first get started? So I won't go too much into that because that'll be Kevin's presentation. After that, we'll jump it back over to me. I'm going to be going over essentially the latest updates. If you're unaware of them, I know a lot of people might not see our release notes or newsletters. So I'm going to go over some of the maybe more useful updates from the last update or two, and just give you some tips and tricks that we have received from our customers in utilizing some of the tools. And that also give you a little preview, kind of just really more discuss. We'll give you guys an insight of what we'll be working on for the end of the year, and then also into 2025 mainly. And then we'll leave some time at the end for a Q&A as well. So anything we don't get answered during the session, we can get those answered in the end. If not, we'll follow up via email with those answers as well. So there's a Q&A section and there's a poll section. You guys keep an eye on the QA section. That's the best way to send in those questions during the presentation. So, all right, let's get this going. Kevin, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and you could take over.
Perfect. Thank you, Jim. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen and we can get started. All right, so perfect. Can we all see my screen right now? I just want to make sure.
Yes, I can see it.
Perfect.
We are good.
All right, so like Jim mentioned, for the portion of my webinar, I'll be going over some of the best practices for MeasureSquare Commercial to enhance your experience with our software. So the first topics I'll be going over is the training resources that we offer to our customers after they purchase the subscriptions. And second, I'll be going over the product catalog add-ons. Next, I will be cover the customized hotkeys to streamline your workflow and the auto tick-off process as well for your autocomplete feature. And lastly, I'll be going over the MeasureSquare Cloud for the real-time collaboration and access your project from anywhere. So here's the first topics I want to basically draw your attention to. It's the training and resources that we offer to our customers. So we have found that customers who will take advantage of our free training programs tend to close out more bids compared to customers that do not take advantage of this option. So beside the free training option that we offer, we also have a lot of free resources out there where you can access yourself. So the first one is the knowledge base website. So on that website, we have hundreds of articles where you can go through them and basically get the answer for yourself for any question that you have for the software. And we also have our YouTube channel where we have hundreds of videos where if you are a self-learner person, you prefer to learn everything on your own, you can also watch those videos and also help you to improve your skills and learn our software that way as well. And lastly, we also offer the Udemy class. It's a free course where you can take the class to learn the basics of the software when you first subscribe to our software, basically. So those are the options that we have offered for our customers. And for larger companies that you prefer to have a more in-depth training for your employees, we also offer the onboarding starter kit where you get 5 tailored sessions tailored specifically to your needs. So if there's any topics or questions that you want to go over in those 5 sessions, we will make sure to cover those topics for you so that you will have all your topics and questions answered specifically for your company.
Excellent. And then just to jump in there a sec, Kevin, expand on some of the points. So Kevin here does a lot of trainings here. I used to do trainings as well. Just to kind of reiterate, for anyone who is new, if you guys didn't realize you get free training, you guys get 2 free sessions, as Kevin mentioned, as well. You don't have to, they don't technically expire. You know, we do find that people who use them in the earlier days are usually just more successful, understand the software better. We do try to make the software, you know, easy to use. We really try to take care and not trying to make it too complicated, but then at the same time, it is a technical software. And there's just a lot of things going on in the end. And there's a lot of specific tools for the flooring industry, which is what makes it powerful, but, you know, just creates more things to learn. So getting started on the right foot is always critical. You know, you guys have, you know, obviously the monetary value in software and subscription, the time it will take to learn it. So, you know, we don't want you to waste your time or money. So spending that time with us is a great resource. Not everyone takes advantage of it. And we really encourage people to do so. We don't want to put anything behind paywalls like other software companies might do. So if you have the time, you know, 30 minutes on a Thursday afternoon, you know, schedule a time with your trainer. If you didn't know you had a trainer, reach out to Kevin at MeasureSquare.com. He'll be able to make sure you get in contact with them. And then if you are a self-learner, like Kevin said, Kevin and myself, our large support team, spent a lot of time making those videos. They're a great resource as well. Their premium onboarding, like he said, is a great resource if you have a larger company, especially if you want to like do a couple sessions now, and then a couple of months later, you could do the other couple of training resources, or a few. You could split them up as well if you want to like work on it a little bit and keep going. So appreciate all that, Kevin. I'll hand it right back over to you.
Perfect. Thank you, Jim. So the next topics that I want to cover here is the add-on option that we have for our product catalog. I noticed that quite a lot of our customers do not take advantage of this option. Add-on is actually a very helpful feature that we have for your products. So basically how it works is with the add-on option, you can group your related products together so that you don't have to drag each item one by one inside your room. So that means you can quickly apply everything you need for a project, like flooring and all its supplies, in just one step. So that will save you a lot of time when it comes to applying your products. So for example here, let's just say you have a carpet tiles and you want to have things like adhesive, labor, code base, outside, inside corners applied to your rooms. Instead of you having to drag each of those products inside the room individually, what you can do, you can basically group them together. So all you have to do, you just have to drag in the main flooring product, which is the carpet tiles, and everything else will get applied at the same time. So just to show everyone how that works, let me quickly switch over to the MeasureSquare software screen, and I will show you how that works. So give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and switch over to that screen right now and show you. All right, so can we all see my MeasureSquare screen right now that I'm showing you?
Yes, I think we're good.
Okay. Thank you, Jim. So before I go in and show you how the add-on works in MeasureSquare, I want to quickly explain the differences between the product services up here versus your project items down here. So as you can see here, underneath my folder called product services right here, I have different flooring products down here. So you want to think of all the products here as your master product list, basically. So any product that you created up here under that product services folder, they will be here across all your projects. So they're ready to be used. Doesn't matter which project you have it open. They will always be here. And you can also share this product catalog with your team members so that if you guys are all using the same product, you don't have to have each person create their own product catalogs. And down here, underneath the product services down here, we have the project items. So any products that you create down here under the project items, it's only going to be here just for this specific project that you're working on. It will be tied just to that specific project. So if there's a one-time item for a certain project that you know that you won't be reused again in the future, you want to create those products down here. So let me quickly show you how the add-on works in MeasureSquare. So I'll go ahead and open up my folder real quick here. And you can see here, if I open up this carpet tile with code base right here, within this specific product right here, I have different add-ons. As you can see here, I have some code base labor here, adhesive labor, inside outside corners. So to be able to group your products together, you first have to create your add-on first before you can go in and start attaching your add-on to the main form products. So to create the add-on, it's actually very simple to do. So I will go ahead and go to my add-on folder here. I have a folder called add-ons. I can just right click on that folder and do a new product here, as you can see. So to create your add-on, it's really simple. First, you want to give your product a name. So in this case, I'll just do this one, carpet tile installation. You can see when you see that red box showed up right there, that means I have a product under the same name. So you want to make sure you name your products different from each other. You cannot have the same name for two different flooring products. So I just put number 1 right there just to show you an example. And for the type here, because this is the labor product, I will go ahead and pick the type called labor down here. Hit OK. And this is very important right here. You can see down here, we have the option called product add-ons. And there's a little checkbox right here. It says is add-on. You want to make sure that box is checked for your add-on so that you can basically attach this add-on to your main form product. By default, labor type will have this box automatically checked for you. You don't have to check that anymore. But with wall base or adhesive, for those type of products, you do have to check this box yourself. So when you have this product checked, you can go ahead and go back to your main form product here that you want to associate this add-on to. In this case, I'll go back to my carpet tile with code base. And I want to click on that little icon with 2 little check marks right there on the bottom, right? And you're going to pull up your add-ons windows here. So this is where you can go ahead and choose all the add-ons that you want to associate with this carpet tiles that you have here. So these are all the add-ons I have here. I can pick and choose whatever add-on I want to attach to this specific product right here. In this case, I'll pick that carpet tile installation, hit OK. And you can see here, it's automatically added that carpet tile installation right here for me, as you can see.
And then I just want to add in with that menu, if you can hit on that menu again, Kevin, for me. Yeah, so this is, as Kevin's doing it here, if you notice he's doing it in the product catalog at the top versus the project item list. This is a great way to build out your products ahead of time. Obviously, this takes a little bit time to build out, but the return on it's usually very good. If you have a lot of repeat work with repeat products, this is great because then you don't have to do it every time, and then you can just drop these down directly into a room or into your project item list in the beginning. If you do a lot of commercial work where it's a lot of unique products every single time, this is still can be helpful because assuming every time you do an installation, some of the installation items are going to be the same every time. They might be different prices, things like that. Exactly. You could build these as generics, essentially like carpet 1, carpet 2, kind of like what we already have in there, but build this out in a more detail and then just rename them once they get it onto the project item list for the future. So you can keep these kind of default versions and then just edit them on the fly in the project item list. And this menu is actually decently new, I think, from sometime this year, where you can mass add by just doing a lot. Kevin could add 20 things at once and essentially not have to do one by one as it used to be in the past. So also a very helpful.
Exactly. Thank you, Jim. So yeah, so if you want to modify these items for this specific project that you're working on, all you have to do at this point to right click on that item and you want to add it to the project items list first. By doing this, you're going to put that product down here under your project items. So now you can freely go in and basically modify the pricing of each item and the add-ons yourself. You can rename them, change the price, depending on the project that you're working on, and set the edit that you make. So when you have all of that completed, all you have to do at this point, you drag that main product over to the room, and you can see automatically all these items will be applied inside that room with the usage and the waste automatically, as you can see. So this will save you a lot of time. Trust me, it does take some time to build out your product catalog at the beginning, but it will pay off in the future.
Yep.
Perfect. All right, and the next thing that I do want to go over is the autocomplete feature in MeasureSquare. Since I have MeasureSquare open, I do want to cover that option real quick. So as you can see here, for this specific project that we're looking at, you can see inside this diagram right here, we have that open hallway right here, as you can see. So you can see I did trace out all the room on the outside on purpose, because by doing this, MeasureSquare can use these outside room walls and basically let us auto complete this hallway without tracing out this hallway, basically. So how this works is, first you want to make sure you snap your room correctly. Don't leave any gaps between your room. There should only be one opening at the end for this feature to work. So now you can see here, since I have everything traced out correctly, all my rooms are snapping correctly. The next step is to use the draw tool. And what you have to do at this point, you can just go ahead and snap to that wall right there from that room and close out this opening right here. By doing this, you can see MeasureSquare is automatically recognizing those walls from those outside room and basically let us trace out this hallway within a second. So now when I see that purple line of the shift, the hallway showed up, I will right click and automatically we have the hallway put in within a second. And just so we all know, this might not work on every single project out there, but when you have something similar to this, I would highly recommend you to use this feature to speed up your drawing process. And as we also can see here, even though we have that hallway put in with that autocomplete feature, there's also some rooms in the middle of this hallway right here. We have some storage room here and the patient toilets. So we have to trade these rooms out. And what we need to do for these rooms, because they are a part of that hallway, we have to punch them out so that we can remove the net area for these rooms inside from the net area of the hallway. So to punch them out, the first step that you need to do, you have to trace out the rooms. So for this example here, I'm going to do just one room to show you all, but the rest of them will be the same steps. So I don't want to waste too much time on this, but first you want to go ahead and trace out this room first. After you trace out that room, what you want to do, you want to right click on the hallway and send the hallway to the back first. So that'll be your first step, is to send the hallway to the back. And then we can right click onto this room, go to room edit and punch out the room. So you can see here, by doing this, it will basically let that room remove the net of that room from the net of the hallway, as you can see.
Yeah.
So that's very important.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin, for that. And just as a little pro tip, as Kevin mentioned, like this is great when if there's like one gap in there. If you ever have like obviously every room floor plan is different. This still works. Like if you want to, if like multiple rooms are connected, sometimes you just might draw one wall to complete a room, or it might be three walls, but then you won't have to retrace the other walls as well. And then if there is like multiple gaps, let's say like that bottom right area was another gap, you can always draw that room, like complete it, and then do the autocomplete, and then just delete the room you don't need. And then that other wall will still be there. So you can always make like sacrificial rooms, and then it'll still work in the same way, just as like a little pro tip.
Exactly. So like what you mentioned, it basically, if you have two openings here and you want to use that autocomplete feature, what you can do, you can trace out a room and basically block out that opening first. Yeah. So by doing that, we can go ahead and close out this opening, right click, and we can just drag this room out and delete it. Perfect. Thank you, Jim.
Yep, of course.
Perfect. All right, let me go ahead and switch back to the slides deck that we have here. So give me 1 second. All right, so the next thing that I want to go over is the hotkeys to customize your shortcuts. I know a lot of companies, they do not utilize this option, but I do know quite a lot of bigger companies that they do implement this option for their employees. So basically with this approach, it helps to ensure that everyone is using the same commands, so which improve your efficiency and collaboration. So you basically, you can see my screen right here. This is a really good example where a company, they basically customize all the hotkeys for their shortcuts, so that this will let them to speed up the drawing process and make everything easier for their team members to complete the test. So if you have a larger team, I would highly recommend you to do this for your team. And this is a very good example. If you want this, I can send you guys this screenshot right here after. If you want to copy this shortcut that we have here. But this is something that we highly recommend you to take advantage of to help your company and also your team members to complete the drawing a lot faster. By doing this, basically it's really simple. You just have to go to your system settings and go to hotkeys in MeasureSquare, and basically you can customize all the tools that we have here. We have basically almost every single tools in MeasureSquare in the hotkeys option, so you can customize them however your company wants. So basically that can help you to speed up your drawing process so much faster.
Yeah, and then there's a lot in there. So if you feel overwhelmed, we try to basically give you all the options. So it's a pretty big menu. And then we'll make the slide deck available as well to anyone. So if anyone wants to see that keyboard shortcut that Kevin had before, so you just screenshot it right now. But you will have the slide deck for you too. So if you want to copy this, it's a good template. So some are pretty obvious, but then some are be pretty creative. So we see a lot of even as just an individual user, if you like using keyboard shortcuts, versus we know there's a lot of options in software. Sometimes they're in a menu or too deep. It's a great way to like get past those extra clicks.
Exactly. Perfect. And lastly is the MeasureSquare Cloud. I think this option for commercial user, we noticed that not a lot of commercial user are fully utilize this valuable free option. But I think this is a very good option if you like to collaborate with different team members, because by using the cloud, you can basically first, you can back up your projects. So in case something happened to your local files, you always have a backup files on the cloud. That's the first thing. That's very important. Second, you can also share your projects with team members, your product catalogs, and also settings. So those are very important things that I think we all should take advantage of. The cloud is free. It's a part of your subscription. You don't have to pay extra for this. So I would highly recommend you guys take your time and check out the cloud. And let me quickly show you how the cloud works in MeasureSquare real quick so that you can see how important it is. So I will go and switch back to my MeasureSquare screen again so that I can show you how that works. So give me 1 second.
Yeah, and we also know that a lot of commercial users, just in Windows environment, everything usually saves to your desktop or somewhere. So we know that most of our mobile users use our cloud well, but MeasureSquare 8 users who are purely commercial usually don't. So it is a bit of a shift in maybe thinking, but if your computer crashes, your hard drive dies, or it's a little bit hard to manage a project if you're always mailing it back and forth, those kind of things. This is a great way to kind of speed up that process, especially when it's collaboration side, and then also just another way to have your work saved somewhere.
Exactly. So yeah, so here, the first thing I want to cover is how to sync your product catalogs with different team members. So if you see here on the top left of my screen, I have that 2 little barrels icon right there. By left clicking on it, you can basically click that sync button to sync your products database to the MeasureSquare Cloud for backup. Before you even share this to your team members, by doing this, this will allow you to basically back up a copy of your database to the MeasureSquare Cloud. So in case something happened to your MeasureSquare one day and you cannot open it, you always have that backup database on the cloud. It does take a long time to build out that product catalog. So I highly recommend you all to sync your product catalog to the cloud. It takes literally 1 second to sync. It really doesn't take that much time. So I do recommend everyone to always sync their product catalogs just for backup purposes. And then if you do want to share that in the future with your team members, that's also another option. And second, when it comes to syncing your project to the cloud, it's actually very simple here. When I click on the file icon on the top left right here, you can basically create your project to the cloud automatically. So instead of creating the local file to your project, you can create a cloud project by clicking on that piece of paper right there. By doing this, the software will automatically create this project as a cloud project, so that when you done with this project, you can sync that project to the cloud so that it will go to the cloud automatically. instead of save it locally. So that is very important as well. And lastly, is when it comes to syncing your settings. If you do have a certain setting and you want to share that with your team, because we do have a lot of companies where they want every employees to share the same settings. So if you go here to file, go to sync profile, you can either download settings as the group members, or as an admin, you can upload the settings. So when the admin upload the setting, it basically letting all the group members under that group share the same settings. So that is something I feel like you guys should also take a look into to make sure that everyone is sharing the same setting and also works the same way, basically. And that's really all on my side when it comes to some of the best practices for MeasureSquare commercial. If there's anything else, Jim, you want to add to that?
No, I think that's great. Yeah, the cloud is a great option for backing up and sharing your files. Not everyone may know this, but we do have a recently launched, probably about a year ago, but still pretty early as far as the product software goes, CRM system that's really geared towards commercial users. But we have plenty of folks in the retail space and multifamily space using it too. Most of our software obviously is on premise, but it has a cloud component. It's really a best of both worlds. A lot of people ask us, we have cloud versions of things. It's never one or the other from our perspective. It depends what you need. If you're on-site measuring, internet connection might be bad. So an iPad app is great for that. If you're sitting at your desktop, you're usually on the internet, so the web connection might not matter as much. But if you're doing a heavy, large commercial project, something that's purely web-based is likely going to be too slow for you. So the best of both worlds get implemented when we connect our on-premise software to our cloud. And then if you're using something like a CRM for project management, that's usually great on the cloud. It's not as heavily needed. You don't have to install things. You can use that on any device. So we're trying to get people more used to using the cloud, especially as more and more things we develop will be connected to the cloud. Not necessarily always built on the cloud, but always keep in mind that everything we have, we want to share across different. So I'll talk a little bit more about that in my side, but good job on explaining that, Kevin. If you are done with your end, I'll switch over to my side as well. And I know we're at about 11:30 right now. Again, this is being recorded. We go a little bit longer. It's all being recorded, so you can go back and review it. I'll try to keep my portion to about 15 minutes, depending on how much I talk. And then I've been trying to answer some of the questions in there. Kevin, I think there might be one or two in there if you want to jump in and answer those to the best of your ability. And then
Will do, Jim. Will do.
Thank you guys. All right, so let me make sure I'm set up on here. So I'm going to ask the obvious question. You can see my screen in a moment. Can you see my slide, Kevin?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So thanks everyone. So now I'm going to go over some of the latest updates that we've done. So some of this might be not new to you, but might be new to other folks. Give you some kind of best practices or use cases for them, and then go over at least talk to what we'll be working on in the next couple of updates, especially for 2025. So just kind of as a reminder of like how we kind of go about product development. We always and will continue to evaluate existing and emerging technologies and advancements and how they can be applied to our trade. And I'll kind of speak to what some of those are. We also always review our customer requests on a weekly basis. It's one of my tasks I do every week is review them internally along with our support team that a lot of our requests go through, including Kevin here. And we always put a strong effort to implement those requests to improve for new and existing customers. We also understand that all requests will get answered. We try to balance them between what's possible, what has the biggest impact, and things like that. So let's take a look at some of the most recent updates and what is coming next. So what I'm going to go start over first, I'll just talk to it, and then we'll jump into the software like Kevin did. I'm going to go over some of the, might be a little bit technical if everyone's interested in it, but go over the improved text recognition and blueprint reading that we've been working on. This will be applied to our automatic scale detection and updated drawing line detection via PDF. And I'll explain what that means. Sounds kind of technical. And then also a really cool option with our ability to copy blueprint text for room labeling. That'll show that off as well. So I'm going to jump into the software just to go over these two main points with everyone, especially if you are new to software, you might not know these exist yet, as these are pretty new, I believe, in our last updates. So I want to make sure that you can see MeasureSquare right now, Kevin?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so I just want to make sure see that. So we've been doing a lot of backend work that you might not see the advantages of all the time. So there's a lot of, most plans that most folks get are PDFs. Some are images, but a lot are going to be PDFs. There's a lot of data in PDFs. We do a lot of conversion stuff, but there's a lot of data in PDF text or just PDFs in general that we weren't taking advantage of in the past. It's pretty complicated stuff, but we put a lot of effort to try to get more data into the software. And one of the things will be the room labels, blueprint scale, but this also in the long run will enable things related to AI and detection, things like that. So this is kind of foundational stuff that we can get some kind of cool features in there, but then also add on top of it in the long run. So this is also setting up the stage for things to come. So the first thing I want to go over, so that's kind of the blurb about what we've been doing with the PDF reading, and I'm going to show off a couple things on what that has done. So I'm going to do an import real quick to show off this. So taking a look at the screen, I selected a PDF set of plans. So there's a couple things here I just want to call out that are pretty new. There's this PDF text, read PDF text, read PDF path. So essentially what this first one does, if you're unsure, is this will allow us to extract the actual text from the PDF. Before we were using things called like OCR, which is just the computer trying to recognize what the text is based on images. A lot of PDFs actually have the text in them in the file structure. So now we're able to extract that directly from PDF. This is a toggle because if it's a very large plan set, it might take a while, and if you don't feel you need this, you can just turn it off. So it will speed up the process if you don't find it useful. And then for the PDF, PDF read PDF path. This is related to recognizing the lines on a PDF. So like by line, I would say a line of a room that will help with the takeoff process. I'll show you what exactly that is for. This might not be as needed if you don't find it helpful, but it is one of the newer functions we're building on top. One of the newer things in here that we've added as well when it comes to reading the PDFs. PDFs are pretty detailed in structure. If you know the nuances of PDFs, there's things called indexes, labels, and bookmarks, and how the essentially pages are structured and labeled. So in the past, we've just read the index, which if I turn off, will just show the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was like kind of our old school way of doing things. We've recently updated it to read the labels and bookmarks, and then kind of giving you control of what you want to see. So in this case, if there's labels and bookmarks, I'm not an expert on this. If you do label or bookmarks, label will be the primary one if there's both existing. If you want bookmarks instead, depending on how the architect maybe created the file, bookmarks would be that in that hierarchy. So basically, labels and bookmarks is what's going to get you those tab names in the simplest way to say it. So those are available now with your control. I'm going to have everything on so I can show these things off. So if you want to do a blueprint scale auto detection that I'm about to show off, the read PDF text is what you want to have on. If you want to do the help with the room tracing, the read PDF path is on. So I'm going to click OK here. I'm going to scan them real quick. I'm not doing a large file, but they are pretty high res. So now we're in here. We're in the preview. Most important thing to do: set your scale. We never really want to tell someone to skip this and do it later on. So the most important part is set your scale first when it comes to a blueprint takeoff. So if this is a true PDF and you have those options on, this auto detect scale beta will be allowed to be selected. If you have those on and this is grayed out, what that will mean is that it's like it may be a PDF file, but it's not a true PDF file anymore. It's a bunch of images, which this will not work with. So this is going to work best with an actual PDF. So what I'm going to do here is just click on it, and now this you'll see auto detects all these scales for us, which is really great. This is one of those long requested things that we've been wanting to do for a while, but now that we've dove deeper into the PDF world, we're able to do this in a much more accurate way. Now, as all things go that are AI and automation, you still want to double check these kind of things. So even though this detected all the scales, we always will say, make sure you go into each page and double check that it's correct. And then, so if it is wrong, you can just hit the drop down and fix it. I've already double checked these. These are all correct except for the ones where there are a page like this that's using for reference where there's multiple scales on here. You can only have one scale per page. So these you might want to not have a scale to. Same with the cover page. There is no scale on the cover page, so that's one of the reasons you'll see a blank. So just because you see a scale, always double check. If there's multiple scales on a page, sometimes it will be blank as well. That would be the other reason. But this is very helpful. From our internal testing, pretty darn accurate so far. But it's basically going to be as good as what the images or the PDF is giving us. So this is one of the really cool new features. I'm very excited about it. So we really do encourage you to use it. It is a beta because we know it might miss things. So again, just albeit the broken record of please double check the work. We don't want any scale to be off and quantities to be off as well. So I'm going to go ahead and import these to new tabs, so which will just split these up into the individual tabs for me here. So so that's how the auto scale works. The other thing that comes with the PDF line drawing is this new option where when we're drawing a room here, I'm just going to draw a couple down here as an example. So Kevin showed off one of those really good tools of the autocomplete. One of the other ways that we can, with the line detection we can do now is that we could detect these, the lines of these rooms here. So like I'm talking about this, like let's say the interior black line here.
Jim, can you share your screen?
Oh, sorry guys. Thank you for telling me.
No problem.
This should good to go now, Kev?
I'm still waiting. Yes.
Okay. So what I was saying is that with the line detection now to help with the drawing process on top of what Kevin showed you and on top of the AI I'll speak to in a little bit, is we can detect these kind of lines now along with the text as well. So the text detection, as I mentioned, means I can drag and highlight and copy this text. And I'll show you one of the cool things that why that's helpful besides just your own use cases of copying and pasting. But if I go into the draw tool and then go into this alignment tab that pops up, this align on path is a new option that we have on here. We have this old process, if anyone's familiar, called image IntelliSense. It's a little bit old technology. This align path is much more accurate because it's actually using the actual detail from PDF versus an old computer algorithm trying to figure out what a room or what a line is to be more accurate. So what this means, you can turn this off. So this is like too much going on. It's like jumping around your cursor anyway. You can just turn this right off. But the purpose of this is when I start to hover over here, you can see that green line hopefully show up on my screen. And that means it's detecting the middle of that line very accurately. So if I really want to be as accurate as I can when I'm doing this takeoff and really snap this to the corner, because our software will snap itself to its own drawn rooms, we can now snap to the actual room that's drawn in the PDF. So I can right click and hold my mouse, for example, and drag this over. Let me restart that. So kind of misclicked. So I can come down here, make sure I'm on that corner, right click and drag. I'm holding down my mouse still. Then when I get up to this corner, I can see that green line to show that I'm snapping to that wall, and then the turquoise line showing it's squaring out essentially, and let go. And that lines up pretty much perfectly. And I can do the same thing where now I'm snapping to the MeasureSquare wall, and then the actual line of the wall on the PDF is very cool. Very technically cool. Hopefully it helps you guys out. We think it will, but this is very cool on a technical level that we can recommend for projects. Then I could just continue drawing from here essentially. So that's essentially what the line recognition does. Just, it might be a little small tool, might help you line things up a bit easier. The other really cool thing that long requested that we're finally able to do is we know that when you draw rooms in here, this is room one, this is room two, but when you start to do a by room breakdown and run the reports, and you really want to be as clear as you can with the installers on what products go where and what materials are in what room. We know it's tedious to go through and like essentially say Office 728, Office 727. So as we try to move towards more, we want to get to automation and AI and do all these really cool things. But we got to take on a step-by-step basis. And one of the ways is now that since we can recognize this text, since we scan the PDF, I can copy and paste these rooms in there now. So this one works a little bit better than the current live version. We should have an update in the next week at most that will actually improve this a little bit, along with some other extra options. That's what people have been asking for. So essentially, if you think about it, how do I select that text that already have our room drawn over it? So if I highlight this, that's obvious, but it's hard for me I can't select this because there's a layer of our room on top of it. So for keyboard shortcuts, speaking to what Kevin was doing too, if I hold down Control and then highlight this, it will highlight the text under the room. And then I can just do Control C like a normal copy. And then the room labels at the bottom right here, I can just do Control V, hit enter, and now I've labeled that room. So it's a lot easier to, think about typing all those out. You might mistype things, misspell things. I do that all the time. I heavily rely on autocorrect. So now I can just hold down Control after I've drawn the room. Assuming this is a true PDF, I can easily highlight each of these rooms and copy and paste in there. So really hope everyone utilizes this. This really hopefully speeds up the process. What we find from like power users and pro users and people who are just very well organized and end up using MeasureSquare to the full potential. It sounds really simple, but we see that a lot of the good projects or good files usually have the room labels applied to them versus just room 1, room 2. So this is a much faster way. We hope to make this even easier down the line, to the best of our ability. But that's one of the updates that with all this PDF work that we're doing that applies to it. All right, so that is what I want to cover regarding the labeling and blueprint reading. Let's see, one of the next features I want to cover, I'm going to switch back to my slide deck, I believe here. Can you see the slide deck again, Kevin?
Yes.
Okay, so I know I'm probably talking too much. I'm going to try to burn through these really quick, or at least just mention them. We've added a new option in the worksheet to allow the original unit of measure to be shown in the worksheet, which essentially means the sell by option, which is most commonly sell by box. This means you can, most time you're ordering tile, it's usually by square foot, not by the box. You might not even know what the box amount is yet, but you might need to use the by box as more of an estimating setting. So now you have the option to toggle that. We'll be adding a default setting in that in the next update. So you can just set it and forget it. You can also now apply linear products to door frames. I'll show that real quick as well. You can apply products under elevations. Before, elevations worked as just a cutout, where if that elevation was applied to a room, you cannot have product go under it, but you might still need to show the elevation on there. There might be something on the elevation like a countertop. So now you can combine those two concepts together. And then I'll just mention the tab view on the right side as one of the past updates that's still very. So I'm going to jump back into MeasureSquare 8 and kind of burn through these quick so I can talk about the next stuff. And then we'll do our best for anyone who's sticking around here, go over some of the Q&A that we missed. So I'm going to go over the worksheet option real quick. So let me see if I can. A bit easier to show us. So I can just use it here. Okay, great. So for the box quantity that I was mentioning here is if I come into, and let me apply some of these. So when I get to the worksheets. So regarding the worksheet, this is if you've been using software for a little while. Now it should be. You guys, Kevin, can you see my pop-up? I know it popped up on my other screen.
Yes.
Okay, great. So to explain what I'm talking about with this guy is that we added this option right here is essentially if it's on or off. I know it's a little bit small. It's one of those fun UI things we have to deal with, but right now it's off. If you see that little heart, that means it's on. We might try to make this more clear when we come up with a better icon. But essentially when this is off the way it is, that means, I believe, when it's off, so I'll correct myself, when it's in the view we see right now, I have sell by box set, which means this will round up to the next box quantity. In the past, you would see when we go to the worksheet, it would say how many boxes you have. But most people need to see the square foot amount in the worksheet, in the quote, whatever it may be. So now you have the option, you have that control. So right now I have it off. So what this will mean is when I generate this worksheet over here, click OK, and we go to this Dal tile product, we'll see the unit right here is the correct unit of measure, which is square feet. By box is not really a unit of measure, but in our software world, it kind of doubles as one. In the past, this would say by box. You'd have to double click on this option and then change this manually. So if you do ever want to do that, you still can. You still always come in here and change it to by box, but now you can have a default setting to keep it by square foot or vice versa. So that's one of the kind of just a little quality of life updates we've added in regarding that. I'm going to go over the door option real quick in case this is one of those long requested options as well. And I'm going to drop this door in here. I'll drop 2 so we can show 2 ideas of this here. And I'm going to go to view wall. So I have my doors here, and I'm going to take this door trim here. So in the past, these doors essentially act as a hole in the wall. So if you're adding tile or paint or something like that, it doesn't over calculate. But then obviously there's a lot of folks who do just like you put a door transition, you may put a trim on the wall. So now we can actually apply trims directly to the doors, and this should work for the windows as well. So essentially I can just take this door trim and directly drag it on here. You'll see it highlight, I let go, and then we'll see that common dashed line going around it. We also have another way to apply this where I have this as a linear product and there's a width to it. So you can kind of consider that a thickness as well. So, like a baseboard might be 4 inches. And now the trim will, have that thickness to it as well. So if this might, what I'm about to explain might be helpful if you're doing tile on the walls. And, sometimes the size of the tile really matters and you don't want to overestimate or underestimate. So if you need to calculate that trim with the space it takes up on the wall in mind, you can hover over this area. So when you see it red like that and I left click, that will add to the thickness. So now it's going to be applied to the outside of that onto the wall. So what that really means in the end, when I drop in an area product on the wall, it will take into account the thickness of this product. So if you had 100 square feet of an area and applied it this way versus the dashed line looking way, which is directly on it, you're going to get 2 different usages of the product essentially. So you have 2 different options on how to do that as well. So it just depends your needs for that. And then the elevation option, I'll just show off here. So right now we have this product in this room. If I apply this elevation into this room, it's going to remove that tile from the bottom. So there's nothing under here. So now what we can do, if you double click on that elevation, it'll pop out the property on the right side. You can go down here and say deduct ground or deduct walls. So that'll allow you to toggle it on and off. So now you can see that's actually running under there. And this works so right now I have it in the corner directly. So it's up against the wall as well. The deduct walls means those walls that are on both sides of that will apply the same methodology. So if you need tile to go behind those, whatever it may be, you can then have it flood that whole wall versus it being deducted. So those are 2 of the newer options. And then just as a reminder, is recess means that you can recess it into the ground. Tips down like you were doing like a tub or something like that. Last thing I'll just mention real quick regarding here is our new tab management on the right side. This is just another great way to manage when you have multiple blueprints in here. I don't have a lot in here, obviously, but when you go to tab view, you'll see all your tabs in here. You can bookmark them and then click on here. I know this is a poor example since I had to just import a single tab, but if I come in here and turn on this view and say bookmark this, let's say you just want to, hey, these are the 5 tabs I'm working on out of 100. I don't want to have to scroll and find them all the time. You can bookmark them, go to this bookmark view, and you'll just see those. You can see them in a line view as well if you want to take up less space. You can organize these by folders. You can see the folder structure up here. You can rename them and manage them essentially. Then when you click on certain things, it will jump to that tab. So this is an old feature I think we probably went over in our last webinar, but I just want to reiterate it for anyone who's new as well. All right, I know I'm continue to go over, so I'm going to jump into the last part here for the coming in the future, because I know that's always of interest to everyone. Can you see my slide deck again as well?
Yes.
Okay, so this is just going to be a talking point, and then Kevin, if you have any QA that you've seen that we want to answer out loud, we can do that, and then we'll probably wrap up at 12 because I know this we're already past the time. So I just want to give a quick update. So obviously Kevin showed off the auto room complete when you've already drawn those rooms. So that's using our existing room structure to speed up the processing of drawing a room. That's a great way to draw your rooms. The new line recognition I saw is another tool as well. So just kind of reiterate what we've been working on. And obviously there's the AI function that some of you are familiar with that we did not show off. And if you're curious, I'm not going to do the demo of it, but I'm just going to bring this up. And when there's a blueprint available and you right click on here, so if there's a blueprint here and I right click on it, there'll be an option that says auto takeoff beta. And basically what that is, for anyone who knows, is it will automatically try to scan the blueprint and draw the rooms for you. So we've had this for a few years now. It's been pretty much an R&D project for us to see what's possible. But in the last 4 months, maybe 6 months, we've decided to put a dedicated team on this and improve it. We know AI is a very popular term. A lot of other companies are diving into it. I would say most people are kind of at the same results so far. But we've literally hired multiple people who are just dedicated to that alone. We are a takeoff software company. AI is its own world. There's so many different avenues of AI, but we are investing into it heavily now and having a dedicated team of folks working on it. So it's either going to be by the end of this year or early next year, maybe around surfaces, so end of January, is we plan to have some of the work we've been doing on push out an update to our AI tracing. So hopefully it will improve the results that you see if you happen to be using it. If you've never used it before, give it a try. It really depends on the blueprint, how well it will do. Sometimes it's 20% accurate, sometimes it's 80% accurate. Similar to the whole AI scale detection. It depends how complicated the blueprint is, but we know that's one of those things that we've learned, that tracing may not be complicated. Maybe sometimes it is, but it's also, it eats up a lot of your time, and it may not it's something you have to do, but the value on it doesn't seem as clear as compared to like doing the actual estimating layouts. So we'll be working on doing updates to that, likely early next year. If we can push it out before then, we will. So I just want to everyone's always asking about us, so I just want to make sure I give an update on that. Regarding the cloud sync that Kevin went over as well, we're going to be doing a lot of improvements on the syncing as well. So if anyone does use it, depending if it's a very large file size, it might take some time to sync. We'll be working on improving large project syncs. So we're doing some stuff on the back end that will make a lot user friendly to use our cloud. So if you have a very large file, we're going to be working on how we can speed up that whole process, and then how we can speed up the process of when you save and sync, where we may not have to sync the whole project to sync the changes. So we'll be doing a lot of back end stuff that might not be as obvious, but will improve in those use cases when you are saving to our cloud. And then hopefully sometime next year, we're going to be working on the UI to make syncing to our cloud even easier as well. And then one of the other items I want to cover is we recently have been building, everyone has AI and chatbots and things like that. We've been training ours as well. So we recently just released it to our website. That's right next to our old chatbot that will eventually take over. And this one is trained with ChatGPT, which is a lot of people using. ChatGPT is great at language models and things like that. So we've trained our own chatbot in regards to MeasureSquare content. It's really good so far. As far as the first iteration, it does pretty well. So we do encourage everyone, if you're on our website, to give it a shot. We're hoping it works well for self-learning. We'll see when it gets things wrong, and do our best to correct it and kind of keep retraining it, because that's usually what improves AI, is a manual person checking all those things and making sure it gets better in the long run. And then if you don't get your answer, you always have the option to turn it into a support ticket as well. And then over time, we plan to take this to the next level and start to implement the chatbots to the product itself. So if you're on the iPad, if you're on the MeasureSquare 8, we hope to have this smarter AI chatbot where it could read all of our KB articles and all this inside details that we have to actually answer your questions in a pretty succinct way and answer those very flooring specific or tile specific questions that are very nuanced. So sometime next year, we don't have a time frame on that exactly, but we do hope to implement those chatbots as a product chatbot as well to help you guys out. And then one of the last things I want to mention, Kevin mentioned the mouse keyboard, and essentially one of the updates we're going to do later on is do the if you have those gaming mouses that have a lot of different buttons on there, you'll be able to map those buttons to the keyboard shortcuts as well. So that'll be one of the updates we'll push out next year as well. And I believe that might be, yeah, so that's going to be the last slide. So I know we went over on time, but I hope everyone found this useful and insightful. And let's see if there's any Q&A we want to answer. Again, if we don't answer everyone's in the next few minutes, we'll follow up with you after the fact. If there's anything you thought we were going to cover that we didn't, or something that we just went over too fast, Feel free to let us know. If you want to email me any questions, my email is jim@MeasureSquare.com. I'll answer them, or I'll get one of our support team like Kevin to answer it as well. But no problem if anyone wants to shoot me an email besides just shooting support@MeasureSquare.com email as well. So I'll switch over for our last part for the Q&A. Kevin, is there any thing that you came across or any questions you want to bring up, verbally so far?
No, everything is pretty simple in the Q&A section. Yeah, nothing
Okay,
too crazy. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm gonna scan through it and just see if I can answer anything before everyone goes. But if everyone's like, "Hey, I really gotta get going," we're officially done with the presentation. I'm just gonna go through some questions and see answer what we can, and then again we'll share the recording. So I know one of the questions: will this video be distributed via email? Yes, it will. You should get an email from us by tomorrow once we get it edited and uploaded to YouTube. We'll be live on our YouTube channel for everyone. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, especially if you miss these or never get an invite somehow. We post all these to our YouTube channel. So if you subscribe to YouTube channel and then turn on the notifications, you'll get an update every time we upload a new video. So that's a great way. So I think Scott asked if there's a video distribution via email. Yes, it will be. Let's see if there's anything else. If anyone does, if anyone wants to ask a question again and push it to top, feel free. I can try to answer those too. But again, thank you for everyone for joining us. Kevin, thank you for joining on the presentation. Very good job, and I really do. I hope everyone especially the new folks and just joined us. I hope you guys schedule training. You may end up being Kevin as your it's a really good way to get a good start in the software to really get the value of the software.
Thank you very much.
Kimberly, I see you jumping in there. I see. I think that's a response. So yeah. So if anyone says, "Hey, I need help," we'll do some follow up in the next couple of different early next week regarding anything. So if you do want to get anything from us immediately, you can always email support@MeasureSquare.com questions too. If it takes a little bit longer to get to you guys. All right. So I'm going to scan here through a little quick. Yeah, someone asked a question: if you can select multiple doors and add transitions to all of them at the same time. It's a good question. At the moment, we can't do that. It's one of those. I try not to get too technical, but I feel like that might help with people. Currently, doing mass selection and applying things is a little bit difficult in certain aspects of the software because it wasn't initially designed that way. So sometimes something that seems simple like that requires a large redesign. And so sometimes it's hard to go back and fix those things. So we do appreciate the request. We do log that stuff. So we do find that possible in the future. We will do our best to do that. Someone asked, does this run on Mac via Windows virtualization or emulation? Yes, it can. If you have like a Mac Pro or something like that. What I've done in the past on my Mac boot camp and then run it on that. I haven't been best of personally with using VMware to simulate Windows while still running Mac. I never could get it to run smoothly because the amount of resources it was needed. But it probably works on different devices. We do have some folks who do that as well. I generally do are using MeasureSquare on a daily basis. Built for Windows, it will likely run better on Windows, and there's also a technical hurdle to try to do that Mac stuff. But if you're tech savvy enough, I had a good experience with Boot Camp. It shut down the Mac side completely and then ran only the Windows portion, so resources just for some more detail on that. All right, I think that's the majority of stuff. Again, we'll double check any questions for where can we find the recording of this video, it will be on the YouTube channel. I believe there's a place called like MeasureSquare Webinars. We have a lot of books. We've been making videos for like 15 years. But there is a YouTube, like most read, these monthly. So those are like probably the ones that pop up the most. But if you find the playlist called MeasureSquare, MeasureSquare Webinars, there's 7 in there right now. You should be able to find the this one likely tomorrow. Is likely going to be the. Are you considering the ability to import vendor catalogs? Yes, we are. So the likely case for that, so like we already have some connection with Q4's, Rollmaster, Realm, and then CompuFloors and some other folks. So your catalog is in there. You will there is the ability through our API connections to bring it in. Going from a vendor directly to us is a little bit more nuanced. It usually depends on the vendor on how they distribute that data, which is the tough part. But we are if you have ever heard of our CRM, the CRM is a much more flexible platform and connects with our estimating software, and the catalog is going to have an even tighter integration over time. So likely the use case would be our CRM would have connection to the vendor if they allow us to, and then once it gets into our CRM, we can funnel into the software as well. Usually those catalogs are enormous, so it could be might be very hard for our software to absorb 100,000 products, and it just might be too hard for you to go through as well. So usually having it go into our CRM or in a more curated way will be an easier way to manage those things. So that is something on the roadmap. No time frame on that. It involves a lot of moving parts, but that's something we do want to accomplish in the future. Let's see if there's anything else. All right, I don't see any questions popping in. I appreciate all the folks that are still in here. I really do appreciate everyone joining us. Hope you guys found this useful. We'll send the recording hopefully by tomorrow. And if there's any open questions or even questions, I will reiterate via email. Everyone should see some communication from us, most likely in the first half of next week. It just depends the bandwidth of some of our folks here. So again, thank you for joining. Kevin, thank you again. Appreciate everyone sticking around. I know we usually go longer, but hopefully it's useful information. So happy early Halloween to everyone, and keep an eye out for our next webinar.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, Kev. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.